Saturday Hoops, presented by Wendy's, brings us to Seattle. Number 11 UCLA and the Huskies inside Alaska Airlines Arena. A capacity crowd, 10,000 strong, set for the matchup we've all been waiting for. And good evening, JB Long with Don McClain. And Don, we have been waiting all day, all week, all season. Here we are in the second half of league play. Finally, head-to-head, the two best players in college basketball.
This one's been circled on my calendar for a long time. The most anticipated matchup I can remember since, and I've been covering this conference for 12 years, at the same position. Two special talents. I hope it lives up to the hype. I think it will.
Oh, both brilliant, of course, but what distinguishes them in your mind?
Well, let's start with Fultz. His understanding of screen roll game is like an NBA veteran. Here on the pull-up, he reads it. He always seems to make the right read when he's in that pick and roll game. Here, he's going to get a high ball screen. Now, instead of pulling up, he sees the alley. He's getting downhill, getting all the way to the rim. He has the athletic ability to finish plays in the paint. And then watch this one. This is like a 12-year NBA vet. Sees it, reads it, behind the back, splits it, and then the dump off to Carlos Johnson for the and one. That is NBA-level stuff. Lonzo Ball different in the sense that he's more of a passer, one of the best passers to come into college basketball maybe in the last decade. His vision is off the charts. If you're open, he will find you. Court awareness, finds Holiday in the corner, but doesn't quit on the play. At 6'6" with the athleticism, he can also make plays like this at the rim, finishing it. These are two special talents. Yes, JB, they do it different, but they are spectacular, and they are going to be stars at the NBA level.
These are the numbers in conference games this season. Markelle scores a bit more. Lonzo creates for his teammates a bit more. Both are tremendous rebounders. The rest of Lorenzo Romar's Husky lineup, Noah Dickerson coming off a 17-point, 9-rebound performance in a loss against USC. Sam Timmons has really come into his own over the last couple of games as well. For Steve Alford and his 11th-ranked UCLA Bruins, we've gone far enough without mentioning their leading scorer and rebounder, TJ Leaf, coming off a career high. For more on that, here's the third member of our team, Jill Savage.
Thanks, JB. Yeah, don't sleep on TJ Leaf. He had 32 points in that game against Washington State. A reason that they were able to bounce back from back-to-back losses. Head coach Steve Alford said he liked the aggressive play that Leaf came out with. That dunk, certainly a part of that. Alford wants to see him come out with more of that aggressive play tonight. Now, Lorenzo Romar, on the other hand, called Leaf a phenomenal talent. He said he's not raw at all. And JB, well, we're excited to see all these star freshmen. So are the NBA scouts. About 20 are expected to be on hand tonight for this showdown.
There are a few, I'm sure, Don, given your background, you recognize a lot of the faces around the building, getting an up-close and personal look at these two players who met a year ago in the McDonald's All-American game, but now it's collegians for the first time.
What's interesting about that, why there's so many scouts, is when you see Fultz and Ball live, you appreciate them more, especially Fultz. I'd seen him on video, but the first time I saw Markelle Fultz live, I was blown away because you see all the little things he does and the little nuances in the screen roll game and how he makes it easier for other people, but still able to get 30 if he wants to. I don't think, JB, we're going to see a lot of head-to-head, them playing man-to-man against each other, because both these teams are going to play a lot of zone. But I hope we see some spectacular plays. I think we will.
Top scoring offense in the league with the basketball to begin against the 11th ranked scoring defense in the Pac-12. Zone, lob, Leaf, not high enough this time, unlike we saw on Wednesday in Pullman.
Well, great play design, though. Get behind that 2-3 defense. It was wide open. Leaf just couldn't finish it.
Fultz is picked up by Ball initially.
Yeah, he is. They switch everything when they're in man-to-man UCLA.
Lonzo with the steal. Fultz pursuing, and Thibault got there for the foul.
Well, I like it that Ball is taking on the challenge. He wants to see what he can do with Fultz. Again, they're going to switch all handoffs and ball screens, but even still, he's taking the challenge of starting on him in their man defense.
So Ball to the free throw line. It's not the strongest part of his game, 65% on the season.
But that steal there, JB, I think Lonzo Ball has the tools to be an elite defender. He's in a culture that the defense isn't really a huge priority, and so you don't see how good he could be. But I think at the next level, when he digs in and decides that he wants to be a really good defender, I think he will be because of his measurables, the long arms, the quickness, he's got that burst.
And anticipates as well as any defender in the country.
Exactly, great point. Now they're back to zone. They're going to mix it up on him.
Dickerson gets a deep touch, working against Leaf, missed it all. And a loose ball rebound, 2-ball.
You say to yourself, UCLA lost 2 games before Washington State. Why? One of the areas, second chance opportunities for the other team. They're not rebounding their own board. Let's see if that's a problem tonight. Washington, historically a good offensive rebounding team.
Fultz dips in, has it knocked out. It'll stay with the Huskies. Hamilton missing a 3 at the other end. He failed to make a 3-pointer in Pullman the other night as well, 0 for 4. Bryce Alford also coming off back-to-back cold shooting performances. And the Huskies have to take a timeout with trouble on the entry. All right, Lorenzo Romar calls time. Let's take a closer look at what the Bruins have done so far this season. Don, it began with a perfect non-conference.
Well, they took college basketball by storm after beating Kentucky in Rupp Arena, and it looked like they weren't going to get beat. And they were just cruising. They were scoring 100 every night. But then they run into Arizona and USC, and you feel like they maybe developed a good blueprint for beating UCLA. But these two guys, and Lonzo in particular, have flipped the UCLA program. 15 and 17 last year. The only thing you can point to that's different is Lonzo Ball and TJ Leaf coming in and what they've done to make this team not only better than last year, but a team that looks like they can make a deep NCAA tournament run if they continue to evolve on the defensive end.
Now, before we get to March Madness, are they still in the thick of the Pac-12 regular season championship with Oregon taking down Arizona today?
Ask yourself, is Oregon or Arizona going to lose 2 more games? Because UCLA's got 3 conference losses. I don't think so. I think either Oregon or Arizona is going to go 16-2 in the conference. And I have a feeling it might be the team that won today. They are rolling right now, Oregon.
UCLA will get a look at Oregon at home next week, and then they still have to make the trip to Tucson. Hamilton flashing, missing back-to-back jumpers to begin, but Leaf cleans up on the offensive glass.
And a good start for UCLA, 4-0. See if Washington can get themselves started here. I think a lot of times they rely on Fultz to get them going. It's really not his nature to just come out and start making it the Markelle Fultz show, but sometimes I think it's necessary. Like right now, they need a bucket. Fultz needs to get the ball in his hands and go.
Trail 3 for TJ Leaf. On the offensive glass, it's Ball.
You mentioned the sellout crowd, first time in a long time. They're waiting for a reason to get going.
Alford with a no-look pass. Thomas Welsh inside.
They move it so well, JB. They make the extra pass, and that's what's different. And Lonzo Ball created that. Now, even if they're open, they're making one more to make it easier for the other guys.
So you think he's as good in pick-and-roll situations as any you've seen in college basketball, and he went and got that bucket you were calling for?
He's the best I've seen in screen roll games since I've been doing this for the last 12 years. And I tried to think of guys who might be better. I can't come up with one.
Ball a bit out of control. Lost his shoe in the process. Scoops it up as he heads back down the floor. Crisp for 3. Lonzo's got it back on.
Sort of.
Fixing the flat tire.
This is the way UCLA wants it. This is when they're just so hard to beat, when the game's free-flowing up and down. Leaf open jumper. Timmons isn't going to want to go out there and check him. Leaf, a reliable 3-point shooter. That one was inside the line, but that's the beauty of UCLA, JB. When they're moving it and making extra passes, all 5 guys can shoot. So how do you cover all 5 when they're moving it that well?
Going the other way on the turnover. Leaf coming off of a career-high 32. He did it on 14 of 18 shooting. Also collected 14 rebounds at Washington State. The underlying story there is that Don McClain's freshman scoring record remains upstairs.
Yeah, he was peeking over the fence at it there for a minute, but couldn't get all the way up there.
The Mean Green of North Texas.
They were a good team that year, JB.
Oh, they were loaded. Lottery picks everywhere. Crisp in transition. Wraps it around with the left.
This is the thing. And we kind of compartmentalize both of them in our open. But Fultz does some of the stuff that Ball does really well, and Ball does some of the stuff that Fultz does as well. Like that throw-ahead pass there, Leaf going to the rim and one. They both do a little bit of what each other do. Some are just, each one is better at one thing than the other.
UCLA getting to the interior of that zone. A three-point opportunity when we come back. The Huskies trail 10-4 despite that transition hoop. Tired Pros Pac-12 standings with up-to-the-minute results. UCLA at 7-3 in conference, 20 victories overall. Don, if they get the win here tonight, it would be the earliest point on any calendar that UCLA had reached 21 wins. Meanwhile, Washington in danger of taking a losing campaign.
No, listen, this is the best UCLA team in a while, and I think because they lost those two in a row, some of the air got taken out of it, but I think they're going to get back on track. And you know, you asked the question, can they win the conference? Yeah, but I don't think it's really on them. I think it's if Oregon or Arizona stumbles a couple more times, and I don't think Oregon's going to, JB. I think, who was that, the old Dennis Green? They are who we thought they were. I mean, they are now who we all thought they were going to be before the season started.
The Leaf caps the three-point play on the other side of the break. Tyler Dorsey with 23 to lead a three-point barrage in Eugene today. Wildcats held to just 18 first-half points, and it was never in doubt.
UCLA showing a little three-quarter court, mainly to make Washington burn some of that shot clock, not really looking for steals, although Lonzo Ball at the point of it, we know he can anticipate and steal it.
Not once, but twice for Crisp. The Dogs have started 2 of 8 shooting. Fultz with a couple points, Ball with 2 free throws. Throws the lob to Leaf. Now that looks like the same shot pocket that he delivers from.
It was.
But it was a pass.
But he saw Leaf and just threw it up there. It might have taken a little more time if it was an actual shot, but you're right. That's where he delivered that from, is where he shoots it from.
And now a chance for a run out. Hamilton got caught from behind by Thibault and gave it back.
See, Fultz has got to take over now. They're off to a bad start. They've only scored 4 points in 5 minutes. They need him to score. He did the one time. He needs to do it again.
Carlos Johnson missing, and UCLA secures.
You hate to say that this early in the game, JB, but he has the ability that if he wants to get a bucket, he can go get him a bucket.
At least so efficient in Pullman. It rattles out on him here in Seattle, and this time Lonzo does let it go. Defensive rebound, Crisp. Johnson from the corner. Welshaw alone for that pool.
A lot of empty trips for Washington right now, playing right into the hands of UCLA.
Hamilton launching.
Early clock misses doesn't help Washington's defense, because you know UCLA is going to get it out and run.
Ball swiping it away from the Fultz jumper. Now on the run out, he gets all the way.
Again, Lonzo Ball has the toolbox to be an elite defender. You saw it there. Went up and blocked Fultz's jumper straight up.
Thibault still can't hit it. He collects his own.
But this can't be the game plan for Washington. Early clock, just toss it up, and they turn it over there.
Their 4th giveaway, and here's that Lonzo Ball defense.
Well, Fultz thought he had more time, but look at the long arms of Lonzo Ball. Reach out, get a piece of that. And then he's got that NBA burst where he's got another gear to get ahead of everybody and finish the play. You saw it there.
You mentioned he has the capacity to be an elite defender. UCLA, as we know, not an elite defensive team. They need him to create those runouts to give them enough possessions to outscore other teams.
They do, and what's happened with UCLA is they started the season off and the offense was so easy and they're getting 100 every night that there wasn't really any reason to worry about the defense. But now, as we move closer, as Alford knocks down the 3, as UCLA moves closer to the tournament, they have to get better defensively if they're going to make a deep run.
Now Bryce Alford hitting from distance. He scored 58 points combined in 2 games against the Dogs last year, and his Bruins on a 10-0 sprint.
I'm a little disappointed, JB, in the disposition of Washington to start this game. I thought with the sellout crowd and all the hype surrounding these 2 point guards that this place would be electric, and I think it wants to be. But Washington just didn't come out with any effort or intensity or fire.
And that second half against USC was deflating. They blew a double-digit lead. That hadn't happened, losing with a double-digit lead at halftime for this program since Michigan State rallied to beat them in November of 2010.
That had to have been disappointing because it looked like they were cruising in that game, and SC was just going to kind of go away, and all of a sudden the game just flipped, and Washington had no answer.
The ball at the top of this 3-2 UCLA zone. Fultz from the interior. Ike Anabogu.
I'll tell you what, scouts are here to look at Anabogu too.
Did not play at Washington State. Here's a chance for the Huskies. Fultz fouled by Ball. Anabogu in practice felt some knee discomfort on that surgically repaired knee that cost him a few games to begin the season, and they decided to give him the midweek game off, able to go here today.
Anabogu looks the part. You see Ball in great anticipation by Thibault, saves it, and then Fultz out ahead. And we're making a lot of NBA statements tonight. Anabogu looks the part of an NBA player, I'll tell you that. One area you can ding Fultz is probably at the foul line. 65 for a player of his caliber, not good enough, I would say.
Both of the freshmen we're talking about, both right there. He and Lonzo each. Bryce Alford. Anabogu trailing. Chris comes away with possession.
Get a bucket here, give him a spark.
Instead, another steal for Lonzo Ball, and numbers for the Bruins. Leaf couldn't handle.
Again, the style of the game is perfect for UCLA right now. Washington not executing, not making shots, and that's playing right into the hands of this UCLA team. The zone has been pretty effective. UCLA started the first possession in man-to-man, but since has been in one of their different zones.
Dominic Green's into the contest for the first time, and he helps snap a 0-for-7 shooting drought for the Huskies.
I was going to say, somebody needs to give them a spark. Maybe it's Green. They stay in their 2-3 zone.
Holiday deflected out.
I mentioned it earlier. It is so hard to cover UCLA no matter what defense you're in because everyone can shoot except for Anabogu. But typically their starting five and every lineup that doesn't include Anabogu can really shoot it. Even Goleman can shoot it.
GG in at the free throw line with the catch. Dickerson defending, 10 to go for Ball. He loves that NBA range. It's as if he's been practicing there since he was a grade schooler.
Well, gives him a head start for next year.
Rarely do you see him toe the college three-point line.
No. But you wonder if because of his release, is that why?
That's what the Huskies needed. Some force inside from Noah Dickerson coming off a 17-point performance.
And by that I mean with Ball's release, it's not mechanically sound and it takes a little bit longer than you would like. So if you're deeper, defenders can't get to you. If you're right on the line, they can close out to it.
How about that free throw line runner?
Haven't seen a lot of that from Lonzo Ball, and I think that's what the scouts that I've talked to want to see is him inside the line. We know he's got the deep three. We know he's got the stuff at the rim. Where's the runner floater game? Where's the pull-up game? Haven't seen a lot of it. Saw the runner there.
EK with the hand check sends us to break and gives us another look at this ball floater.
He can do almost everything. If he gets this going, he can do everything. Lonzo Ball and UCLA off to a great start.
The Utah Office of Tourism presents Life Elevated.
Well, we've talked about Lonzo Ball's passing ability, and it is on full display tonight. And I get the feeling, JB, nothing is at stake tonight for either of these two guards, but I get the feeling that Lonzo Ball is a little more up for the challenge tonight. He's come out with a little more fire, a little more intensity. He's made plays on the defensive end. And Fultz is just, I've seen him go off. And I feel like he's just kind of floating right now. I'd like to see him take the game a little bit more, especially with his team down 12.
And by reputation, Fultz typically waits until after the half. He may not have that luxury here with his team trailing 12.
Yeah, you wait till after the half tonight, you're going to be down 25.
Holiday with a deflection for UCLA. Ball with 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals. And he gets some defensive help from Aaron Holiday. Could be the National Sixth Man of the Year.
Do they have a National Sixth Man of the Year?
You and I do.
That's right, I'll vote.
Chris rattles one home.
That's what they need. Little confidence builder from behind the line. That's what's available against this UCLA zone. They're going to have to make some of those open threes.
Crisp has hit one in every game of his season except his 0 for 4 performance across state at Gonzaga. Ike shuffled the feet.
See, this is all they needed, Washington, was a little bit of a spark. A made three, the crowd starting to come on a little bit. See if they can follow it up here with another good possession.
UW shooting just 31%, 5 of 16 from the floor. Each team has only made 1 3. Approaching the midway point opening half. Green picking and popping with Fultz. Got EK lifted between the legs off the mark. Rebound Alford.
Well, that's what's going to be available. UCLA is going to blitz that screen roll game, meaning both guys are going to try and trap Fultz. The roll or pop guy is going to be what's open.
Holiday no, Ball another chance. Alford hesitates and goes, and that's a hand check on Green.
I mean, Ball, is that his second or third offensive rebound right in the middle of the paint? But a lot of guys, JB, in their mindset, if they get it at 12 to 13 feet, they're looking to go back and score. His first thought is, who can I kick it out to for a three? Because we know the best time to shoot a three is off an offensive rebound.
Of which he has 3, to answer your question. The zone bothered them against USC. That was a story coming out of the Galen Center. We didn't see as much of it in Pullman from Ernie Kent's group, but plenty tonight against the Huskies. G.G. Gulliman from Aaron Holiday.
Not enough activity from Washington within their zone. That's too easy for UCLA.
So at least at this end, we've seen a little bit more of Fultz against Ball one-on-one. Again, he wants to split that. Green turns it down, 9 to shoot. Really the first time tonight the shot clock has come into play. Chris got a step, coughed it up. Hamilton on the move. Holiday trailing, flips it up with the left, Aaron Holiday.
Again, turnover or missed shot. UCLA is looking to advance it early and score. That time Holiday takes it all the way in and finishes.
Thibault missing, Ball got the tip to Goldman on the glass.
Alonzo Ball, I think, needs a little breather here. Normally he's getting it and throwing it ahead. That might be the first time I've ever seen him walk it up.
Late whistle, and it'll count. Aaron Holiday, top 4 in the Pac-12 in three-point percentage and assists, top 10 in steals. He impacts the game every time he enters.
Well, I haven't done a UCLA game in a while, so I need to say it again that it's impressive what Aaron Holiday has done this year, because last year as a freshman, he didn't start. So this was going to be his time. Lonzo Ball comes in. He's one of the best passers we've seen coming into the college game. Most guys would transfer. He didn't. He stayed. He accepted his role, and he is having a great season for UCLA coming off the bench as the first player.
At double figures in 6 straight league games. He's their second leading assist player. Fultz has seen 2 defenders everywhere. Rises for 3 over Holiday.
Might have gotten a foul there, too.
Called it 2, a toe on the line.
That's what I'm saying, though, JB. He can score whenever he wants. So if your team's going, what'd you say, an 0 for 7 drought? That's your time that you got to stop the bleeding and go get your team a basket.
Yeah, they nearly went media timeout to media timeout without a made field goal. Traveling there on Goldman and UCLA.
Well, I'll say it again. The best guard I've seen in the screen roll game in college in 12 years comes off, looking to fire, knocks it down. UCLA still up big.
Saturday Hoops is presented by Wendy's and by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. With great beer comes great responsibility. And by Black Bear Diner. Good old-fashioned family food.
Lonzo Ball and UCLA up 27-14. Now, we've all seen Lonzo Ball get compared to Jason Kidd. It's been out there for a while, and hey, that's not a bad comparison. Jason Kidd is nothing to laugh at, but Lorenzo Romar thinks that Ball is better aligned with Magic Johnson. He said the last time he saw someone affect the team that much was Magic with the Lakers. He said Magic came in, made everyone on the team better. Ball came in, UCLA is passing the ball, moving the ball much better. And he says, hey, he has had that same impact in Westwood.
That's right, Jill, and I think the spirit of Lonzo Ball has affected everybody to where they are making the extra pass. They don't care who scores, which means everybody scores. The Jason Kidd comparison, I think, is fair because of how good Jason Kidd was as a freshman, but Ball not nearly the defender that Jason Kidd was his freshman year in college, but Jason Kidd probably not the shooter that Lonzo Ball was. I would say overall, Jason Kidd, just because he impacted the game in more ways than Ball, maybe a little bit better, but I think that's why you see the comparison is that the passing ability of both he and Jason Kidd off the charts for a freshman player.
Fultz starts 0 of 3 at the line. He did just put the second personal foul on Lonzo Ball. So Bryce Alford checks in. TJ Leaf is back. He leads all scorers with 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting. And Fultz still looking for his first made free throw.
Maybe Markelle Fultz didn't get the memo about how hyped this game was supposed to be and all the scouts and everything. I mean, I'm more excited for this game than Fultz, it seems.
Both individuals are very understated in their body language.
Okay, well, be understated and have 20 at the half. That's what I was waiting for.
I wonder if that's an issue at all. For a freshman who's being asked to lead, does his kind of even-keeled, low-pulse nature work against the team success of the Huskies?
It could. I mean, I'm not in that locker room, but I think watching this Washington team the last few weeks, being here, I think they need something. They need a vocal. They need somebody to get everybody hyped up. The body language to start this game just wasn't right for Washington.
This has been their best defensive possession so far. Let's see if they can close it out with 2 to shoot for UCLA. Hamilton in a tough spot. He did not draw iron, so a shot clock violation. Let's see if that sparks the dog.
Well, here's the good news. It looked like UCLA was going to run away with this thing from the beginning. I think Washington has stabilized the game now. Now it's just about they got to get some buckets so that UCLA can't get out in transition and extend this lead anymore.
A zone at both ends defensively. Thibault in the rip through. Up and under Matisse.
Need some plays like that. Again, the crowd is ready to explode, but they haven't really had a reason.
Alford on the holiday kick. Welsh tracks it down, no shot clock reset.
With this UCLA team, the shot clock is never an issue.
Hamilton.
See what I mean?
He is going to be a YMCA All-Star. First, I hope he makes a lot of money playing somewhere.
I've said this. If I'm Isaac Hamilton, I go straight.
Dickerson wouldn't fall.
I don't take my chances of getting a shot at the NBA, maybe going undrafted, but trying to make a team. I go straight to Greece or Russia or Spain, stay there for 12 years, and come back at 36 years old with a pile of money in the bank.
And then when he's 37 years old, he better
be a YMCA All-Star.
He's going to be the first pick of every pickup game.
That's right.
Another missed free throw for the Huskies. Doing it right, presented by Ally Bank, our Pac-12 freshman scoring leaders. 3 of the 4 present and accounted for here in Seattle tonight.
How did Markkanen? Nobody played well for Arizona today. He must have not had a good game either.
A tough matchup for him against the length, the speed, the rim protection of the Ducks.
Well, Dylan Brooks is an undersized 4, which is the perfect guy to guard a guy like Markkanen. The reason Markkanen's such a tough guard is bigs are trying to chase him around the three-point line, and they can't do it.
Welsh, that's a great look. Holiday pays it off.
Against the zone, if you can get it into the middle, the first look is always opposite. Welsh caught it, looked opposite, Wide open Holiday.
Only the second made three of the game for the Bruins. Each team with two made triples. Loose ball here. Timmons scrapping for it. Kept the pivot foot down. Couldn't put the shot down. Welsh secures for the Bruins.
Holiday running the show now. Different than Ball. Ball usually throws it ahead to guys.
Again, Ball with two fouls. Hamilton couldn't hit.
But still the same result. That simple play. You swing it to Alford. He swings it to the other side.
Fultz leaning back. And Timmons puts it back. Sam Timmons coming off his best two games as a Husky in the last week. 11 points at Arizona, 8 and 8 against USC.
I'm telling you, that's the biggest problem for UCLA right there, giving up second chance opportunities.
Bryce knocked down.
I mean, Washington's got to figure out if the ball goes to the middle, they are going to the opposite side. First it was Holiday, there it was Alford.
The last two games for Bryce Alford, just 10 points combined in 2 of 13 shooting. He's been better tonight. Comes away with the steal here. Thibault intercepts with Fultz. Back and forth it goes. And it works with some goaltending.
A mistake by Bryce Alford initiating the offense. Thibault gets in the lane and ends up getting the bucket.
Don, you hit the gym today, right? Get on the treadmill?
Yeah.
Number 2, Lonzo.
Matisse Thibault. You know his mile time?
Sub 4?
Not quite. Sub 5. 4:55. What was your pace today?
That was right around there. I think it was just a touch over 5.
If you hadn't gone if you hadn't gone fries at lunch, maybe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Washington seems to have woken up a little bit, but they have to string together stops now. They dug themselves a big hole. That's not going to help. Leaf on the block, left shoulder turn, right hand finish.
He's into double figures with 11. Has only missed 2 shots.
Complete offensive game, TJ Leaf.
From the free throw line, Bitumba Baruti.
Lorenzo Romar looking for somebody to give him a big spark.
He just matched his season-made field goal total. AK up top from Ball.
But again, JB, that is way too easy. Simple high ball screen. Anabogu goes right down the lane to the front of the rim, and Ball tosses it up to him. It just can't happen if you're going to get back in this game.
Thibault pulls up. Baseline over Alford.
Well, to your point about the mile time, Thibault, a tremendous athlete, and I think we'd be talking about him at the next level if he was a couple inches taller.
He's one of 2 players in our league with more steals than turnovers. DeAnthony Melton, who was here with USC earlier in the week, is the other. Alford catching fire. Good Ball, another offensive board. That's 4.
Good setup by Leaf there. ISO post. Alford rolls to the corner, finds him.
And Steve Alford is letting Lonzo play through 2 fouls.
I would too. We've talked about that, JB. I think it's
good cut by Bryce.
Everybody goes unconventional now. It used to be if you got 2 fouls, you sat for the rest of the half. I can't remember a coach doing that recently. I think it's now you roll the dice. Hope he doesn't pick up that third.
Another missed 3. Long rebound to Thibault. Fultz got it.
Contested shots. That's the second one tonight where it's been really contested. Doesn't bother Fultz. He knocks it down.
His second made 3. He's got 9 points. Holiday takes the body from Crisp. I'll say the foul is on the floor. D.G. Nelson, Glade Mayberry, and Michael Greenstein. Our crew tonight's in Seattle. Sold out at Heck Ed. Our Delta Faucet touch of the game, courtesy of Matisse Thibault, who has 6 points. These the most dazzling. But at the other end, Don McClain, UCLA picking apart the Husky zone.
All right, let's run some good zone offense. Let's get our 7-foot guy who can see over everything right to the foul line. So we get it to him, and then we get good player movement. Ball goes to one side, okay, to the top, freeze it. Now Hamilton's going to fill over here. You look here, but you're not going to go there. You're going to go back to the other side after the Washington defense has shifted to Aaron Holiday for a wide open 3. good zone offense, but when you get the ball in the middle of that zone, it really breaks it down.
You know what strikes me watching that replay is the pick your poison nature of guarding UCLA. Surrounding Welsh there, you have 4 elite shooters and scorers, so where do you go?
Exactly. That's why I've said all year, how do you cover these guys in the half court? Because good defense tries to take something away. If you take something away from UCLA, somebody's going to be open on the other side.
Lonzo Ball wasn't in for that telestration. He did just hit, and so does Markelle Fultz.
Listen, JB, if I could score that easy, I'm telling you right now, I'd get 40 every night. I mean, it is so easy for this guy.
He is getting 23. Ike Anabogu playing above the rim in his return to the lineup.
And I would say this, watching him against pretty good competition, the college game really, to me, is too easy for Markelle Fultz, and I don't want to get into a conversation about whether players should be able to go straight to the league. But the last guy, JB, as Holiday gets fouled, the last guy I said to myself that college was too easy for him, watching him play, Kevin Durant.
Second personal foul, 16 fouls on Washington.
State Farm halftime report is coming up in 1:24 of game time as Holiday steps to the free throw line. Sent to our San Francisco studios. Oregon, impressive. Chimezie Metu, dominance. And how about those top 5 upsets at home in the Big 12? 2 and 3 in the country going down. So if there was a weekend for Arizona to lose at number 5, not a bad one.
I was going to say the opposite. What an opportunity they had to move up. But you're right, not a bad weekend. They'll probably stay where they're at.
Crisp operating at the top. Back to your point about Fultz getting his 23.1 points per game. That's on pace to be the highest Pac-12 scoring average in 20 years. Ed Gray, Cal in 97, just shy of 25 most recently.
You know the stat that really blew me away in the Washington notes?
Welsh with another second chance opportunity. Go ahead.
Was
Leaf collects.
He's the first player in the last 25 years to be averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. In 25 years. That blew me away. Ashley Walker, the SID here at Washington, always puts out great notes and nuggets. That was a really good one.
And you can go the other way, too, with Ball, only player in the country to be averaging 10, 4, and 7 assists. Dickerson. All right, so some interior attacking at the offensive end for Dickerson and the Dog, just like we saw from Welsh and the Bruins. All right, let's go Lonzo Ball on spec, Don McClain.
Adam Gordon special, my man. Here we go. Lonzo Ball, talked about his size already, 6'5", 6'6", can see over the top of defenses. His passing ability off the charts. If you're open, he's going to find you every time. And then the unselfishness that we've been talking about that just has taken over this UCLA program. Not only him being unselfish, but now other players are being unselfish, which to the point that we've also been talking about, the ball's moving, the extra pass is being made. UCLA's got 50 again at halftime in the game.
Take a look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts with UCLA already at 50 and 30 seconds to play. They're one of 2 teams this season to have 3 different players score 32-plus in a game, and we'll note that those are all league games.
That doesn't happen unless what? I just said it. Unless the ball is moving.
Well, it has been tonight. They're shooting 56% from the floor despite going 4 of 15 from behind the arc.
Because usually you see if a guy's getting 30-plus on a team, it's usually that same guy every time. But if it's multiple guys, that means the team is really good at moving it around.
Holiday already in double figures, playing off the bench as always. Looking to extend this Bruins lead. He does. The hoist as the horn expires. It goes off the center-hung scoreboard here, and it's a massive lead for the Bruins after 20 minutes.
What you expect from UCLA? Getting out in transition. Washington didn't shoot it well, so UCLA took advantage. I'm a little disappointed at how Washington came out. They stabilized the game a little bit, but not good enough defensively to keep UCLA from having an 18-point lead.
Let's send it down to the floor and check in with Jill Savage.
Coach Alford, 52 points for you in this first half. A lot of defense to offense. What did you like in this first half?
A lot. I thought we were really good in that 20 minutes. I thought we were really active, switching back from man to zone. We used our length and athleticism And we got some really good stops that got us out in transition where we're really good.
You said it before, Washington can score in bunches, so what do you have to do coming out here in the second?
Well, we got to come out at halftime really focused. We didn't do that at Washington State a couple days ago, so that first 5 minutes in the second half is going to be huge.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
JB?
And thank you, Jill. UCLA unbeaten this season, 18-0, when they hold a halftime lead, and that lead is 18 here in Seattle. Lonzo Ball sparking a prolific first half, 52 points. State Farm halftime report is next. Saturday Hoops presented by Wendy's. Lorenzo Romar's Huskies have some work to do to start this second half. Jill Savage spoke with him.
I asked him what he was looking to address first with this team. He said offensively, we have to attack the zone. We have to do a better job also in creating off of the UCLA turnovers. UCLA turned the ball over 9 times in the first half, and he said defensively in our zone, we have to set up better. We have to start boxing out inside. We have to just really go after them and defend in the post. When you look at that, 32 points in the paint out of 52 for UCLA to start this game.
Yeah, Joe, I think you hit on it. 9 turnovers for UCLA, overcome by plus 13 rebounding margin for the Bruins.
Yeah, and I thought that Washington settled early in that first half, but a good start there with Thibault knocking down a 3. It's okay to take open threes, but if you're settling for threes, and I said it in the first half, UCLA is going to run out on you. So you got to make sure if you're going to load up a 3 that A, it's a good shot, but B, you got guys in position to get back in transition.
Thibault has 9 points. Isaac Hamilton
right back at you. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable, JB, and we've already touched on it. You try and cover one guy, and then the other guy's open, and then the other guy's open, and everybody's open, it seems like, all the time for UCLA.
I pointed this out before. UCLA did 3 elite shooters returning this year with Hamilton, Alford, and Holiday. And with Ball in the mix, extending the range.
Well, they just needed somebody to get them the ball. I mean, Alford was their point guard last year, and he's not a point guard. He is in the role that he should have been in the whole time at UCLA, and that's playing off the ball and knocking down perimeter shots.
Dickerson gets Welsh lifted, takes the contact, and converts.
If you're UCLA, you cannot play the score right now. This building has the capability of erupting if Washington gets something going. Dickerson a load down on the block. Welsh, not good. Not good enough defensively, and I think, JB, that's a perfect example of why people are skeptical of UCLA. That possession right there. Just not enough defensively to believe that they can rip through the NCAA tournament.
That's where they need EK to be a healthy, viable rim protection option for them, as Leaf gets an easy one from Hamilton.
I'll tell you this. So that pass right there that Hamilton made, did you see Hamilton make that pass ever in his first 3 years at UCLA? No. He makes that pass now because Lonzo Ball makes that pass.
And Leaf a pretty good recipient, too.
Yes.
Flashes here, puts it down once, and knocked out last touch by UCLA with a 20-point lead.
Again, you cannot trade baskets right now with UCLA if you're Washington. Somehow, some way, you got to get them on a 0-for-7 trip like you had trips in the first half. Easier said than done with this UCLA group you're trying to guard.
A Fultz ran ball off a screen. He got through and forced the turnover.
As you know, JB, I really think a lot of Markelle Fultz as a player and his IQ and his skill level. But I'm going to tell you, this is, and maybe I was expecting too much coming to here tonight with the matchup with Lonzo Ball, but this has not been a great night for Markelle Fultz so far.
The ball gives it right back on the crossover.
I was hoping to see him up and into it and electric and attacking and making plays. We just really haven't seen that yet tonight.
UCLA matched up here with Ball, chasing Fultz.
Trying to blitz it. Should have been one more for Green. When they blitz it and they throw it out, you skip it across the other side. The weak side should be wide open UCLA's going to commit to trapping Markelle Fultz in ball screens. Got to make him pay on the opposite side.
Lonzo comes to get it from Bryce Alford. A couple of second-half threes for Lonzo Ball.
You know, when you watch this, JB, and I know we both watched both of those games, when you watch this free-flowing UCLA team getting offense from everybody, Fultz knocks down another triple. You just wonder how Arizona and USC beat them. You know, when you see this. But it tells you that the Washington defense not good enough tonight.
From Seattle Tacoma International, Lonzo Ball.
See, that's why I said in the first half, I think Ball is buying into this matchup and the hype of this game a little more than Fultz. You know why he shot that shot?
Because Jello Ball is hitting half quarters in high school?
That, and also because Fultz just knocked one down. He's like, hey, you just made one, I'm going to make another one. I mean, that is from deep, isn't it? That's 26 probably.
He's tied a season high for made threes with 4. Green. And that's going the other way. Bryce did enough to box out Dickerson.
You appreciate that. Bryce Alford at his size getting underneath Dickerson and getting that foul.
Ball loves to throw ahead, even off a stoppage. He was looking for Hamilton for early offense.
You have to be so alert and aware defensively when ball's on the court, no matter where the ball is.
Bryce Alford.
And I mean the ball and the ball.
I think the only thing faster than Lonzo pushing it with the speed dribble is the way he flings it ahead. Markelle Fultz, it might be time.
Here we go.
It might be time.
You know what? The game might already be decided, but let's go. Let's go mano a mano. Just spread the floor and let's see what you got.
The only other time they've been on the same court was at the McDonald's All-American game, and this may feel like an All-American game the rest of the way.
This is what I've been waiting for. I was waiting for this at the start. Come on, man. 2 best freshman point guards I've seen ever since I've been broadcasting going at each other. We didn't think it'd be from behind the line, but Lonzo Ball doesn't look great, but the end is great, and this guy, you can't guard him in the screen roll game. Let's get it going, JB.
Donnie Mack on the pack. Down the stretch they come.
It's been a while since we've done a Mack on the pack. Oregon and Arizona now tied at the top, but in good position with only 1 loss. We've been talking about these 2 freshmen all night, but there's freshmen all over the conference that are making a major impact. And as always, in February, weird things happen, and I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of weird things happening, major implications. And earlier this week on Monday, I had a fitting for my robe. It turned out that it fits. But I think right now, 4 in the tournament. I think Utah got eliminated today by losing at Stanford. Cal, the 5th team that I think can jump in there with UCLA, Oregon, Arizona, and USC, those 4 teams. I think their resumes have them solidly in the NCAA tournament.
Dickerson at the free throw line as we resume. By the way, make sure to leave the robe in the hotel when you check out. They do charge you for it if you take it home.
No, that's not a hotel robe. I got fitted for that. That's my robe, the Justice robe. We're going to start a new segment with Justice. Justice with D-Mac. I don't know what we're going to serve Justice on, but we'll figure something out.
How about the first story there with the teams even at the top? Arizona and Oregon, no return trip to Tucson this year. Who do you think prevails?
I just think that Oregon, and maybe it's because I saw what I saw today as Welsh knocks down that shot that he never misses. Maybe today's win is fresh in my mind, but I think Oregon is back to what everybody thought they were going to be, and I think they're the best team when they're right. If everybody's right in this league playing a game, I think Oregon's the best team, and I think that will win out eventually.
18-point performances so far for our featured matchup. Ball with a deflection there, and Markelle Fultz, 8 to shoot for the Huskies. Boy, a rough trip to the Bay Area for Utah. It looked like Cal beat them twice because they were lackluster at Maples Pavilion.
It was such a great game on Thursday. Double overtime, they lose it, and that just took the air. It had to have. I didn't see the game against Stanford today, but Utah, a better team than Stanford. But that's what I said about February. It doesn't matter if you're a better team or not in February. You better be ready to play, and I don't think Utah was.
saw a ball hit from 28 feet in our previous segment. Foltz unable to do it from distance. Third personal foul on Welsh there gives Washington a new shot clock and a new possession. Thibault will send it in.
Ball guarding Foltz.
Travel as he made his move. It's turnover number 11 for Washington, 10 for UCLA as well.
Interesting. You feel like the intensity's picked up a little bit, but the defense hasn't. The offensive intensity's picked up. You don't say that very often.
Now, to your point, 63% shooting at this end for the Bruins. EK from ball, and he was wrapped up by Dickerson.
You know how I noticed that, JB? Because I never had a problem with my offensive intensity. I was always had the right intensity when it came to that end of the floor.
By the way, welcome to Kelsey Plum's house. Pac-12's all-time leading scorer.
I thought I accomplished something until I started looking at her numbers.
Leaf is fouled by Foltz. Should mention that UW is shorthanded without Malik Dime, and they could certainly use his defensive presence, his shot blocking against a team like UCLA. Broken pinky in early January. Send it down to Jill for more.
Lorenzo Romar told me at shoot-around, yeah, this team is missing Dime because he's like the grandfather of the team. He holds everyone accountable, and hey, leave it to college basketball for making us all feel ancient when Dime is only 24 and he's the grandpa of the team, JB.
Yeah, missing his 8th game tonight consecutively. And speaking of age, that reminds me that this man, Markelle Fultz, looking ahead to the spring draft, he doesn't turn 19, Don, until a month before the draft, May 29th, so he's got a late birthday.
Yeah, in the day and age, in the era of parents holding their kids back for youth sports, Fultz a prime example that it doesn't matter if you hold them back.
Leaf off the glass from Lonzo Ball. It'll probably go down as a missed shot for Lonzo, but it could have been an assist.
Leaf not quitting on the play, and I mentioned not playing the scoreboard if you're UCLA. They continue to extend this lead.
And Abogu rips away that rebound.
Which means we can go a lot of different directions here in the next 30 minutes. Where do you want to go?
Steve Alford clapping his hands there. I think he got the burst coming out of the half.
It's easy real quick. It's easy when you're up. What were they up 18 at halftime to just come out flat, and they understand what they're playing for. They're still in the Pac-12 conference race. They're still playing for seeding in the Pac-12 tournament. They're still playing for seeding in the NCAA tournament. So you can't come out and lose this opportunity to win.
You're getting a bit ragged here, but as much as it's an opportunity to win, it's an opportunity not to lose. When you make the Washington trip this year, you just cannot take an RPI loss in Pullman or Seattle for a team that's playing for seeding like UCLA is.
Exactly right, and a lot more road sweeps this year, I feel like. Does that mean the league's more top-heavy because the teams at the top are doing it?
This will be UCLA's second. They also got one in the mountains, which is perhaps the toughest trip, and it's the first time they've done that in the Alford era.
I think it would be a lot more difficult now. I think Colorado's figured it out a little bit. They're a little different team than they were a couple of weeks ago. Not to discount that UCLA did it, but I think that the mountain trip now, the next few weeks, is going to be a lot more difficult than it was.
Colorado will play the Super Bowl Sunday game, the appetizer, in Berkeley tomorrow. Already winners today in the Pac-12, Oregon, Stanford, ASU, and USC. Dickerson deep. EK altered the shot if he didn't block it. Here comes Holiday. Gets it back from Hamilton. Aaron Holiday.
They are,
and it's flushed by EK plus a foul.
They are so lethal in transition because the ball is moving. It's not one guy breaking it down. Holiday breaks it down at the end to throw the lob to Anabogu, but they threw it ahead. You attack, you give it up, throw it up, and the defense is just scrambling everywhere because you don't know where the ball's going, and all of a sudden their big guy's dunking it. Impossible to defend.
It's been a few minutes since you asked kind of the rhetorical, how did Arizona and USC beat this team, given how remarkable they are on offense. Well, I guess the short answer would be Arizona might be the most committed team defensively in our league, and USC might be the longest, quickest, most athletic playing zone.
Really athletic teams, I think, would bother UCLA. That being said, they beat Kentucky in Rupp, and Kentucky's really athletic. I think good rebounding teams, Arizona historically, and this year as well, very good on the backboard. And USC was that night against UCLA. When they're committed to their defense and rebounding, their athleticism makes them tough to deal with.
Well, the Bruins on the charter home tonight will feel a lot better, I think, about their zone offense than they did leaving the Galen Center.
Wait, UCLA's chartering?
Ball. Not this time. There's the first rebound for Fultz. I knew you'd like that one.
It's unheard of.
Hamilton a steal.
You gotta stop the ball, man. That shouldn't happen.
9 unanswered for the Bruins.
I mean, Hamilton's not even coming at full speed, and no one gets in his way till the very end. It's not like that was Lonzo Ball or Aaron Holiday coming at you 100 miles an hour. He was just kind of cruising the ball up the court. Well, I think Washington may be playing the score a little bit now.
They're in a 4-minute drought here at the offensive end. Attaway into the contest, and he's fouled. Matthew Attaway, a junior from Toronto, at the free throw line when we come back to Heck Ed. Saturday Hoops is presented by Wendy's. By clean, crisp Coors Lights with great beer comes great responsibility. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage.
It's 81-47 UCLA, but this sellout Huskies crowd did have something to cheer about. At halftime, we had our student section challenge. All 12 student sections are performing an in-game stunt, trying to show why they are the best student section in the conference. Tonight at halftime, Harry, the Huskies, the band, well, they got into the surfboard, too. That's a brave man, and that's a lot of trust right there in that Husky student section. So Washington fans have 72 hours to share and retweet this on social media to help get the Huskies recognized at the Pac-12 men's basketball tournament in Las Vegas, JB.
That's the best one I've seen, Jill. They're in the lead right now, UW.
Hey, Jill, Don and I just came up with a sideline reporter challenge, and you've got 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go surfing.
Oh, man, like I said, that's a lot of trust, and I don't know if I have that with a bunch of strangers yet, JB.
Come on, Jill.
It's been a long day. I don't know if I can do it.
It's 81-47, Jill. Help us out.
We need something. We need something.
I'll try. For you guys, I will.
It's a little bit different than last night at Maples for Jill Savage, where she was on hand for Tara Vanderveer's 1,000th career victory, as seen here on Pac-12 Network.
Yeah, congratulations to Tara. 1,000 wins at anything is quite an accomplishment, but at the college level, really impressive.
Here in Seattle, 18 points each for Lonzo Ball and Markelle Fultz. It's been a more complete stat line for Ball and his Bruins in command. Ike got a dunk in the previous segment.
Fultz is showing us flashes tonight. We're not seeing what I was hoping, an epic game from him, but just that rebound right there in traffic on the defensive end. At his size, being a point guard, it's not normal for point guards to be able to go in there and snatch those down. We've seen Lonzo Ball on the offensive board. That's why NBA people love these guys so much, their size and their ability to rebound.
So Baruti, Green, and Thibault all missed threes on that trip for the Huskies. As they come up empty again, Holiday, so fundamental.
But again, set up by what, JB? What happened at the beginning of that possession? Lonzo Ball throw ahead to get the break started so that UCLA can attack before the Washington defense is set. That's all it is in transition. They are able to attack and move the ball before the opposition is set, and it's impossible to guard everybody.
5-minute drought continues, at least before these free throws. All right, back to a little bit of history in women's basketball here in the Conference of Champions.
11 Final Four appearances. Seriously? 22 conference titles. I mean, dominant.
Jill Savage, what was it like on the farm last night?
It was an incredible atmosphere down there last night to be able to see history. And I caught up with Lorenzo Romar today and asked him about Tara Vanderveer getting her 1,000th win. He said that is a phenomenal accomplishment. It couldn't happen to a nicer person, and Tara has the respect of everyone in basketball. It's no fluke that she did that. JB, she has 1,000 wins and only 228 losses.
That's a joke.
The right-hand column was the one that caught my attention, too.
1,000 wins and 228 losses. Wow.
Thanks for logging the miles to join us here, Jill. Welsh facing up. It's about as bad as I've ever seen Thomas Welsh miss a baseline jumper.
When he's set and looking at it, he doesn't miss. When he's got to adjust or pivot, it makes it a little more difficult for him.
Huskies have not had a made field goal since their under-16 timeout.
Let me clean that up a little bit. When he's catching and facing and he's open, he knocks that down. He's still, when he's got to make a play and adjust or move, he's not as consistent as he is when he's catching and shooting straight up.
And before tonight, his last 2 games, he had scored a combined 30 points, missing just 3 shots along the way. And
he gets a lot of that baseline jumper, though.
Yep.
Why? Because everybody's going out to cover the three-point line. All those shooters, he's always wide open at 15 to 17 feet.
And this week, along with Josh Hawkinson from the Pac-12, named one of 10 watch list finalists for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Center of the Year award. Holiday gets in the lane. Extra pass from Alford.
Alford would have shot that one last year, right?
Especially that game here. Remember the double overtime duel with Andrew Andrews?
Yes.
Bryce got 30, but he did it on 5 of 21 shooting, and he got 17 points at the free throw line.
But again, that's a compliment to him, that's a shot he would have shot last year. This year he's making the extra pass. That's why UCLA's 20-3 instead of whatever they were at this point last year.
Who do you think ends up leading this team in scoring? Because Ball, Alford, and Leaf are all kind of right there changing hands. Attaway throws down.
It's a good question. I mean, it really depends on what the defense wants to see.
Backdoor lob ball from Holiday.
I mean, how many different ways can this UCLA team score? And that's a called set play. I've seen that 10 times this year where Ball gets behind the defense and gets the lob pass.
Tough defensive rebound for Welsh, and Alford was shaken up as he took the outlet.
Refuses the screen and just goes back door. Baruti asleep. Ball dunks it.
Holiday's going to leave. Ball into the backcourt to take the entry pass, and Alford able to continue.
It would be interesting to know, JB, what really Lonzo Ball and Markelle Fultz were thinking tonight before this game. We asked them, they'd give us the politically correct answer, but I would love to know what the real answer is.
Fultz with a free throw to follow. And the politically correct answer, of course, that it's not about them individually or one-on-one, the way we pitched the whole night, of course, but rather the team success.
I mean, both these guys are in great position for the next level, assuming they're both leaving. Again, I've said it a couple times, there was nothing at stake in this matchup. I think the 20 NBA people that are here have probably already seen each individually, and those guys don't really evaluate based on the stat sheet. They don't even look at the stat sheet. They evaluate the measurables, the impact on the game, their skill set.
How they practice. I was here on Friday, and the scouts were also here to watch us, Markelle, behind the scenes, interact with his teammates and coaches.
That's all. When they call me, when I have my pre-draft guys that I do in the spring, they don't even ask me about anything on the court. Is he coachable? Is he on time? All that kind of stuff.
Bottoms from Alford there. By the way, Fultz with his 17th 20-point game.
But I think what they wanted to see was an NBA-level point guard against another NBA-level point guard. Because both these guys are going to be top 10 picks. let's see how he plays against that.
And Don, being involved in grassroots as you are, you know it's kind of rare for two players of their prowess to have not played against each other coming up, and that's a product of their East and West Coast roots.
Yeah, and again, they're such different players, and the NBA now is so, what's the word, precise, with analytics and metrics and everything, that you could say based on what you do that this player fits the way you do it better than this player.
Don Lonzo Ball has 20 points. He also has a handful of assists.
This is just Lonzo being himself, but also bad Washington defense. Anabogu right to the front of the rim. And then guards aren't used to closing out to that far. So Crisp didn't really fall asleep, but really he's not used to going all the way out there. But guess what? Fultz does it too. Not a good enough closeout, and Ball showing his range. We may get to the mechanics of that shot a little bit later, but I'll tell you what, JB, we're going to break it down a little bit, but it goes in. And as someone who's involved in working guys out, and say if it goes in, I'm not sure you need to fix it.
To the tune of 4 made threes in 7 attempts tonight.
I mean, what's he shooting coming in from behind the line?
42%.
42. I mean, that'll work.
2 more for Markelle Fultz.
And I hate to say this, but I've been complimentary enough of Markelle Fultz to say this. The box score tomorrow morning is going to be deceiving if you didn't see the game.
There's a block for Washington defensively. Some resistance at that end. Matthew Attaway getting Fultz moving. He drops it back, a deep three. Green, it won't go. We change gears to TJ Leaf as he rips down that rebound. He had the big game, a career high in the front half of this road trip, lifting them to victory in Pullman.
But that's the thing. You asked me who's going to lead him in scoring. I mean, was the game plan against Washington State for Leaf to go off? No. But when you're a team that moves it as well as UCLA does when they're right, some nights the ball is going to find TJ Leaf. Some nights it's going to find Alford. He had 37 against Colorado. But that's a team thing. And so, it just happened on Thursday night or Wednesday night that TJ Leaf was open, and he's skilled enough to get you 32.
The last Pac-12 player to achieve Leafs numbers, 32 and 14, was Ryan Anderson in 2008 against this Washington program. Is that a decent pro comp for TJ Leaf?
I think it's a decent one. I would say what Ryan Anderson became, we see him as
or is he more like, Nolan Ryan?
Ryan Anderson was a little bit bigger than TJ Leaf. We'll start with that. TJ Leaf, more athletic than Ryan Anderson. But what Ryan Anderson figured out is he became a specialist in the NBA, and that is the now stretch four. And Ryan Anderson can really, really shoot it. A better shooter than TJ Leaf, although TJ Leaf's numbers say he's a pretty good shooter. But in the NBA now, if you're not a superstar, you need to be a specialist. Ryan Anderson's a specialist. Unfortunately, you could say that TJ Leaf is a better all-around player than Ryan Anderson, but he may not have the impact of a Ryan Anderson because he's not a specialist at one thing.
His teammates certainly identified the hot hand in Pullman. He was 14 of 18 from the floor. It marked the highest field goal percentage for a single game in the Pac-12 with a minimum of 15 attempts since Alan Crabb went 12 for 15 against Arizona 4 years ago. Holiday in a laugher. UCLA closing in on the century mark.
With 5.5 to go.
Going the other way. Foul away from the basketball. And let's take a closer look at that three-point form for Ball.
He releases it on the opposite side of his head. He's a right-handed shooter, and that ball I was watching tonight from up here, we're up higher tonight, that ball is clearly released on the other side of his head. Not something you would teach, and certainly not something you see all the time, but it goes in, and you just wonder, and I think it's too late in the game to drastically change that mechanic and those mechanics to put it on the right side of his head. The issue, you would say, in evaluating him for the next level, if you're right-handed and let's say you go one bounce right, it takes a long time to get that ball from that one bounce right-handed dribble all the way to the other side of your head. And I think that would be the concern, and I think that's why you don't see a lot of mid-range game from Lonzo Ball. He doesn't do a lot off the bounce. His is either catch and shoot or it's at the rim.
But that is what makes Fultz special.
We haven't seen his best tonight, but he shows you glimpses of it. And just to finish that point on Lonzo Ball, I think it's going to be a matter of opinion and taste if you don't think Lonzo Ball and his mechanics are going to hold up at the next level.
Well, you probably heard it. To win a championship, you need to split on the road and win all your home games. Well, that formula might be changed up. The road less weary this year. So far, there have been 26 two-game conference road swings, and the sweeps, back-to-back wins away from home, more prevalent. Arizona's got a couple. UCLA's going to join that group with this sweep of Washington to go along with their back-to-back wins in the Mountains, Don.
Let me tell you something. If you're not going to win 15 games this year, don't even think about winning the conference. And last season, only 6, but more this year. And I think the top teams, this will be 7 if UCLA holds on here. The top teams know that you better, like I said, if you ain't thinking about winning 15, you can't think about winning the conference. And the only way to win 15 or 16 is to sweep a couple times.
Green trying to get going. He's had a rough go of it of late in Pac-12 play, and emblematic in some ways of the night for Washington right there. 39% shooting and 20 turnovers.
Washington just didn't come out right, JB. You could see it right from the start. UCLA scored easily early, and Washington just never brought their level up to the level that it needed to be. Well, UCLA is a really good team. They're top 15 team in the country, and they were right tonight. They were ready to play. Give them some credit, too. They were ready to go, and they're putting up another 100 on somebody.
How good is Holiday? 18 now on 7 of 9 shooting. Double figures in 7 straight games. Only 2 D1 bench players, Don, have higher scoring averages than Aaron Holiday, and they play at Wyoming and Bakersfield. No disrespect to those programs. Bruins going for 100 again.
So strong sell at the end of this, all right?
I've heard Lawrence Taylor from those guys. I've heard movie references. UFC now.
They're having a good old time tonight. At least they are, man. We were expecting a really good game here tonight, and yeah.
Huskies have not allowed 100 points in a conference home game since January of '98 against U of A. And UCLA is a couple of points away from their 8th 100-point performance this season.
Find it a little interesting, JB, that Lonzo Ball back in the game with 3:47 to go, up 40. Be curious to know why. Is he nearing a triple-double or something?
No, and we kind of felt like tonight might be the night because he doesn't have one yet, but he's been close, and Washington has never had one, and Markelle Fultz is expected to get one before he leaves, put it that way. Lorenzo Romar has a pack of red vines on him.
He does?
Yes. Not for me, just.
I knew that.
Hamilton's not going to get the 100. Fultz still in the game as well, for that matter, for UW.
Well, that's a little different. I don't think Washington's got any postseason plans after watching this tonight.
We had to wait into now February to see this matchup in the second half of the league schedule. Fultz and Ball will get it again in early March at Pauley Pavilion. Holiday and the Bruins want to go deep in this shot clock. Inside of 3 to go. Crossing over Crisp, now behind the back. Alford, got it.
I mean, no problem, right? Late shot clock, you got shooters all over the place. Somebody will be open eventually. Alford knocks it down.
Green couldn't finish after spinning baseline on ball.
It's going to be an interesting game Thursday. It's a revenge game for UCLA. They had the lead. They should have won the game in Eugene. Oregon comes out of nowhere. Brooks with the game winner. Oregon coming off a thrashing of Arizona today. So I think it lines up that there's really, they're playing for what they're playing for, and that is Oregon to stay in the lead in the conference and for UCLA to try and creep back with Oregon and Arizona atop the Pac-12 conference.
Both teams clearing their bench here. When Steve Alford goes to his bench, he produces a sixth man of the game every time out. Aaron Holiday, the league leader in this award, 18 points on 7 of 9 shooting, 5 assists. All right, back to the Dylan Brooks dagger.
He likes the theatrics, and this was a moment. You either make or miss. It's on you. Win it or don't win it. And Brooks wins it with that 3 ball. It was unbelievable. It was a perfect storm for UCLA to lose that game, miss free throws, turnovers. But give Oregon credit. They took it from them, and that's why they only have 1 loss in the conference.
I know you feel as I do that there are at least 3 legitimate Final Four threats from the Pac-12 this year, if indeed it is more top-heavy. Of them, Arizona, Oregon, UCLA. When each is playing at its peak, what's the best program?
I think Oregon at their peak is the best team because defensively they have all the bases covered. They have 2 rim protectors in Boucher and Bell, which nobody else has. They have athletic wing players. Brooks is a matchup nightmare, but also a multi-positional defender. So I think that equips them to go deeper into the tournament. And I also think their experience of getting to the Elite 8 last year helps them when talking about who can make the deepest run.
As Sean Miller said after that game in Eugene, a blowout, that he hopes for his sake and for everyone else's that Oregon doesn't have another gear beyond the way they played today. Because if so, not only are they're going to win the league, they're going to win the national title.
I don't know that. I mean, there's no way after watching what I watched today that they have another gear. That's their gear. But if that's it, they beat Arizona by whatever they beat them by today.
85-58. Tyler Dorsey leading the way with 23. Again, they do not meet again until maybe the final in Vegas.
Which at that point, we're just talking about seeding for the NCAA tournament. I mean, if Oregon keeps rolling, say they knock off UCLA on Thursday and they roll through their schedule, they may be talking about playing for a #1 seed in the Pac-12 tournament.
And Dana and the Ducks have had Arizona's number, and again, in very recent history, and what a thriller that was in Vegas last year. To the free throw line here, Greg Bowman, a junior, a walk-on who joined the team in 2014. He has scored this season, even though he comes up empty there. Quinn Barnard is in as well.
When I was getting ready for this game and flying up here today, JB,
you were watching Quinn Barnard tape?
I had no idea these guys would be playing. I thought we were in for a barn burner down to the wire, Fulton Ball making plays.
Gerald Smith for UCLA, pulled down by Baruti. Dan Kingma is in as well for the Huskies. Devenir DeRusso completing their lineup. Hamilton's going to get out here. Ikena Okwarabizie. I thought I might be done with Ikena's pronunciation this year, but he's going to get in. Kind of put some finishing thoughts here on Markelle Fultz. A rare smile, and I'm sure he doesn't feel good about the result, but his final line, 25 points on 9 of 19, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 turnovers.
But again, deceiving. If this was going to be a game, he had to be spectacular. And from the jump, to set the tone for his team. And I know that's not his nature, and you've been talking about he's better in second halves and all that, but this is a game with the building full for the first time in however many years. For him to just come out on fire and going so that his teammates would follow and we would have a game. That didn't happen. UCLA is going to win by 40.
If they are to go 1-2 in the draft, because of the teams that are there in Brooklyn and Phoenix and Los Angeles, and because of the East Coast and the West Coast routes respectively, I'll be real curious to see where they wind up in the pros.
I think fit is more important. You'd rather be on a team where you fit the city, although it matters.
But since we compared ball to Magic by way of Lorenzo Romar tonight, could you imagine Lorenzo?
Why not?
At Staples Center?
Why not?
107 points. For number 11 UCLA, they get a road sweep. Convincing wins in Pullman and Seattle.
They did what they had to do to stay in the Pac-12 conference race, coming off a couple losses in a row. I think UCLA righted the ship. This team I watched tonight is more like the team I watched in November and December, just rolling through everybody. So maybe for them, this gives them some confidence. Little disappointed in the Fultz and Ball matchup. Didn't really pan out like we thought, but a good win for UCLA, and they head back home for a monster game against Oregon on Thursday.
A Ball with 22, one of 5 Bruins in double figures. 4 had 20 or more. For Don, I'm JB, Bjorn Esland, Chris Boyd, part of our team today in Seattle. We're going to Mike Yam, Kevin O'Neill, and Matt Muehlbach for Pac-12 Final Score, presented by Microsoft. Next, UCLA 107.